Hello everyone and welcome to the Hemisphere. Today we're diving deep into Brazil's new Anti-Oruam bill, a proposal to stop taxpayer money to support music that glorifies organized crime. I'll give you guys the roadmap. Here's the roadmap. 1. Where does the law came from? 2. Who is Oruam? 3. Why Comando Vermelho matters? 4. How Brazil funds culture and its soft power stakes. 5. Why this bill makes sense, and what's next? Number 1. Origins of the Anti-Oruam law. In January 2025, São Paulo's Councilwoman Amanda Vettorazzo bans municipal grants for any concert celebrating criminal factions. Days later, Representative Kataguiri brings that ordinance to Brasilia, naming the federal draft the Anti-Oruam bill. Today, it's before the Chamber's Culture Committee, with public hearings in August and probably a vote by September. Behind the scenes, supporters from the MBL movement and the Missão Party are both vocally opponents of what they call criminal culture. They have championed this measure as a way to extinguish narco-propaganda art. Number 2. Who is Oruam? Mauro dos Santos, born in March 1st, 2001, is a real-born rapper whose stage name is his own name spelled backwards. Isn't that interesting? His music fuses rap and funk carioca, and he's risen fast on the streaming platforms. But there's a catch. Oruam is not just any artist. He's the son of Marcinho VP, a former Comando Vermelho commander, now in prison for homicide and drug trafficking. Lawmakers argue that subsidizing his concerts amounts to state-sponsored narco glorification. That, let's be honest, makes sense. So, you probably don't know what Comando Vermelho is. So, let's go to number 3. Number 3. The quick premiere on Comando Vermelho. Founded in 1979 inside Cândido Mendes prison, CV has morphed into a transnational syndicate. Their key activities is something that you would probably expect. Cocaine smuggling routes from Colombia to Europe, arms trafficking with paramilitary grade weapons, extortion, protection rackets in Rio's favelas, kidnapping and prison takeover schemes. And you would think that, oh my god, they're like street gangs like the Crips and the Blood. Imagine the Crips and the Bloods more like a private army with jungle concerts one night, grenade attacks on the other, police raids on the next one, criminal corruption like killing politicians. So yeah, it's not like your regular US street gang. Those are the bad guys that you see in movies. Number 4. Brazil's culture funding machine and soft powers at stake. So, the federal Lei Rouanet channels approximately 500 million reais annually into film, music, theater, and visual arts. It basically covers all the states in the federation and culturally funds more than 5,000 municipal grants. They pour hundreds of millions of reais into festivals, from grand ones such as Rio's carnivals to tiny interior folk dance gatherings. And let's be honest, the Hemisphere is more of a geopolitics channel, so we could not talk about such a topic without talking about the international repercussions of that. So, while some view it merely as a reflection of Brazil's deep social inequalities, others see it as a form of cultural normalization of crime, with Brazilian criminal networks hijacking art to shape public opinion, something that we've seen in every country in Latin America. It's not a good thing. Maybe a cleanup like the one that happened in El Salvador is more than necessary now, because that deeply reflects on Brazil's culture and how criminals can just go and do whatever they want. And imagine the Italian mafia funding artists to make songs about them. Yeah, I know that happened in real life, but let's imagine that they were making songs to glorify the mafia. And that really puts Brazil in a weak spot internationally. So you're gonna tell me that you're gonna have international gangs controlling some areas in your country, and Brazil, the biggest country in South America with one of the most well-funded militaries in South America, cannot do anything about it? And El Salvador, a small little island, can do it in a year? That's something that we need to put more debate on. And before you come to the comments and start complaining, oh my god, that's not how you deal with crime, you should talk and have more debate over. Hey buddy, this is not St. Louis, Illinois, okay? This is not your little suburb, little town that has crime gangs. We're talking about international drug traffickers that actually abuse the local populations, having their quote-unquote laws, you know, where if you go and complain to the drug trafficker that they're making too much noise at night, they're gonna burn you up, they're gonna kill you up, chop you up, and burn you up. And I'm not lying, I'm not giving you fake news. This is actually something that happened, okay? And do yourself a favor, if you want to ask anyone, don't go and ask the internet academics about this. Do yourself a favor, go to the streets of Brazil and ask a regular Joe what does he think about crime. And guys, let's remember something. Crime does not discriminate. Doesn't matter if you're black, you're white, you're gay, you're trans. If you don't pay, you're dead, buddy, okay? You're dead. So there's no reason for any group whatsoever to defend this type of shit, eh? We agree and we protect the state of law. That's what should be. That's what should be the common thing. Okay? Narco culture? How is that such a debate? Okay? How is that such a debate that prohibiting narco-propaganda is considered removing freedom of speech? Are we on the same page here? So now, with that said, I'll push to topic number 5. Why the Anti-Oruam bill makes sense. Number 1, defending the youth and communities. Exposure to lyrics that glamorize kidnapping, murder, and extortion can influence vulnerable listens. This law shields them from state-backed narco-propaganda. And guys, let's be honest here. We need to sharpen cultural priorities. Taxpayer funds should build community theaters, education programs, and heritage festivals, not bankroll criminal mythology. We need to reallocate the resources. We could free up more than 10 million reais per year and use it for positive impact, for actually places that talk about the national culture of Brazil. You know, Brazil is such a diverse country, and I feel like that should be talked more, okay? If it is your African tradition, your European tradition, or your First Nation tradition, those things should be glorified more. And the unity of those cultures and those races make what Brazil is today. So you, from your first world country, blah, 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 you're gonna tell me that it's better for us to fund criminal propaganda than First Nation cultural festivals? We'll see about that, eh? We'll see. Because we're using the same logic here that someone would complain. And don't get me wrong, we can't really see this as censorship. We're just using mechanisms to protect us, the same ones that we use for Nazi reference in the media. This would only be used for works that explicitly praise criminal factions, such as symbols, references, and even flags. And as I said before, a crackdown on those criminal factions will bring Brazil to the top level, not only in tourism, but public safety, opening Brazil up for more international investment, and for the well-being of the population. So now, Brazil faces a clear choice: protect public safety and refocus cultural subsidies, or continue doing the same thing we've been doing for 20 years now, and ignore it. So now, what's next? Yeah, I feel like changing Brazil is really a mission, if you know what I mean. Thank you very much, everyone, and if you support this common sense measure, hit the like button, subscribe, and ring the bell for more in-depth geopolitics from Brazil and beyond.